Shalom, shalom. This is the Angel John Lee with Torah Restoration Ministries. I'm standing at one of the highest, basically the highest point in Seattle at the top of the building, Skyview Observatory. You can see behind me, if I can get it in there. Yeah, that's the, right next to my head, you can see the Ferris wheel that me and Lisa rode a couple weeks ago. There it is. There's the Ferris wheel. So that's how high I am. I'll just sort of pan it here so you guys can see. It's pretty spectacular. There's the Space Needle. Let's go a little bit better. There's the Space Needle. You can see it. It's pretty spectacular, this view. That's the Puget Sound right there. So this is basically looking to the west. And then here's the view to the north. Now you can see the Space Needle really well. That's to the north. I think that's the I-5. That's the I-5 going north right there. Up into northern Washington toward Bellevue. It's pretty spectacular. I'm basically at the top of the tallest building in Seattle, and this is the second tallest building on the West Coast. There's the Space Needle again. So that's to the north. Here's a view to the east, going toward the Olympic Mountains. Can't really see the Olympic Mountains, or not the Olympic Mountains, the Cascade Mountains. Can't really see the Cascade Mountains because they're shrouded in fog. Not sure what freeway that is. That might be actually I-5. Anyway, as I was on the underground tour earlier today, the tour guide said that there was a massive earthquake that shook Seattle. It was a 6.7 or 6.8. Actually, he might have said 7.1. Really big earthquake that hit and messed up a lot of things in the underground tour. And that hit in the spring of 1949. In fact, I Googled it. It looks like it happened on April 13th. What's interesting about that is when I was up on Cape Flattery a few days ago, I was at the Maka Indian Tribe Reservation. It's the most northwest point of the lower 48 continental United States. And there was an earthquake that hit 500 years ago that buried the Maka village, which preserved a lot of their heritage and culture, and they've made a museum out of it. But they said that that mudslide, they believe, also happened from a massive earthquake that hit 500 years ago, and it hit in the spring of that year. And they could tell that it hit in the spring because of the type of vegetation that it preserved in the mudslide. So this major earthquake hit Seattle in the spring of 1949, and then this other major earthquake hit to preserve the Maka Indians in the spring of 500 years ago. I'm beginning to think that maybe Yah is showing me that the timing of the great earthquake that's going to hit again is going to be in the springtime. The only earthquake I remember hitting is the big one that hit. It was a 7.0 that hit Olympia, Washington back in the February of 2001. I think it happened like on February 1st. It was like, no, it wasn't February 1st. It was like late February because I'd already started my job at the Oregonian, but it was happened in late February of 2001. And it just was like a tremor in Portland, but it devastated Olympia. That's where it was centered just below Olympia, and it ravaged Seattle pretty bad too. But that was in 2001, 16 years ago, almost 17 years ago. So that wasn't quite in winter, but I mean, wasn't quite in spring, but it was toward the end of winter, getting close to spring. So it seems like these major earthquakes hit in the springtime. So that's something to keep in mind. I wonder if maybe Yah's showing me that the earthquake that's going to hit again is going to happen sometime in the late winter, early spring, which coincidentally that's of course when Purim is and Passover, when I think the Great Tribulation will begin as well. So something to keep in mind. We'll see what happens. Anyway, this is Daniel John Lee with Torah Restoration Ministries. Website is spiritandtorah.com. Shalom.